In Galaxy Trucker, you build and fly a spaceship, collect cargo, and discover cool things. Actually, what you're really doing is slowly watching your hard work, poof, blow up in your face. This is a weekend game. Building and playing is maybe an hour, but setup and takedown is really long, even with baggies. Put all these ship tiles in the middle so that everyone can reach them. Each player takes their double-sided shipboard and their colored rockets. One rocket goes on your shipboard, the other on the flight board. This one indicates player order, which is determined by finish in the building phase. Finally, shuffle the adventure cards. Flip over the sand timer and begin! Grab those tiles and build an awesome ship. A moment ago, we showed a shipboard with a finished ship on it. You wouldn't have a finished ship at this point. We thought an empty shipboard wouldn't be as interesting to look at. Sorry for the confusion. Now back to the review. There are a whole bunch of ship tiles. Cabins for humans and aliens, cannons, engines, cargo holds, shield generators, connectors. There are also batteries to power shields and double cannons and engines. When you grab a tile from the middle, turn it over your shipboard. If it's useful, place it. It's now locked. Make sure that the part connections match. If not, well, I'll talk about that later. If the part could be useful, place it on the side. You can start to 2 tiles, but be sure to eventually place them or return them to the center. Otherwise, you'll have to pay $1 for each stored part at the end. If you don't want the tile, return it face up. During this phase, you can also sneak a peek at the upcoming adventure cards. This allows you to better plan your ship design. Because you can't see all the cards, only some, you'll only be able to plan so much. Plus, while you're doing this, everyone else is still building their ship. Also, the timer is still going. It's a risk to look at the cards, but it could pay off. When the timer runs out, flip it over again. In round 1, it's flipped once. In round 2, it's flipped twice, and so on. When the first player finishes, they grab the first player marker. When the second player finishes, they grab the second player marker, and so on. Once the timer runs out this final time, the P4 is given to the slowpoke at the end. Of course, if the fourth player finishes before the timer, the phase ends and you can start playing. Players now inspect their opponent's ships. This is so fun because you're hoping to find a problem. Maybe a mismatched connector or whatever. If a piece is illegal, it's moved to the side of their shipboard. They'll have to pay $1 per in-use part at the end. This can be great for you, bad for them, if a whole bunch of pieces get removed just because of one little mistake. Once the inspection is over, the next phase begins. P1 flips an adventure card and the players resolve it going in order. There are some harmless ones, but most of the time they will slowly or quickly destroy your ship. If you run out of crew, you're out. If you run out of engines, you coast along until the end. That is, unless an open space card is revealed. If that happens, the other ships power up their engines and zoom off. You, on the other hand, just float around, never to be heard from again. If you somehow survive to the end, you trade all your cargo for money at full value. If you made it to the end with no engines, you trade cargo for half value. The values are marked on the flight board, so don't worry about having to remember all these numbers. You also get money depending on the order that you finished and having the fewest exposed connectors on your ship. Once you've collected all your money, you pay $1 for each unused or broken part. After this, the next round begins. Draw new adventure cards. For this round, you'll have a mix of the adventure card from the 1 and 2 piles. There are more cards added each round, and while the rewards get better, the danger grows too. Oh, and you also flip your shipboard, keeping only the starting components. The rest of the tiles go back to the middle. Yes, that means you have to flip them all face down and mix them up again. Galaxy Trucker sounds harder than it is. In round 1, you build a ship, survive the cards, and make money. In each round after that, you're building a bigger ship, surviving trickier cards, and making even more money. The instructions, which are hilarious, like all Czech Games Edition rulebooks, say you win if you make $1. If you make more, you super win, I guess. It doesn't really matter. You have fun in this game whether you win or lose. The race for the tiles can get pretty crazy, meaning it's easy to make a mistake. A few games ago, my mom built what she thought was a really good ship. When it came time to inspect things, she realized she completely forgot to place an engine. She said, as long as we don't get an open space, I'm good. Well, guess what the first card was? Well, maybe I shouldn't be too hard on her. In the second round, I missed a connection which took away my engines. A few cards later, open space again. Setup takes a long time, especially making sure all the tiles are face down. The actual game doesn't take up a lot of table space, but the tile drawing does. There's a lot of randomness in the game, but it's so funny watching ships get destroyed, including your own. The game's components are just okay. I do like the cute little aliens and astronauts though. I love tile drawing and the race against the time. You're figuring out where everything goes, all the while making sure your ship will last. I love the way the flight board works. Do you go for the big reward, but you move behind a few other players, meaning you earn less money at the end? All the information you'll need is on the flight board and your shipboard. As long as you can remember what the tiles are, you'll be fine. I like when games do this. There's so much to do in the base game, you won't get bored for a long time. If you need something to spice up the game, there are a whole bunch of expansions. I think the game is great. Experienced gamers will love it. But even those pretty new will have lots of fun. I wouldn't call it a gateway game, but it's probably the next step up. Galaxy Trucker gets 2 thumbs.